Hello, boys and girls. I'm Pearlo Wisdom. And just wait, I didn't go live yet. There we go. Yes, I did. Hello, boys and girls. I'm Pearlo Wisdom, and you're listening to my NHL Pearls of Wisdom. And we today are going to look at our Sunday card, how we did. Of course, you wouldn't have got the picks for Sunday because I don't do videos on the weekend. If you want those, you see right on the front my thumbnail. Now, bpalpicks.com. You just search bpalpicks on the Safari there, or whatever your browser is. Set yourself up for, take $10 for a day. You can do that today. You can do a 3-day package. You can take 3 days for free on a weekly package. Or you can just take a full monthly package. You get all my picks all the time. We are also going to be talking about each team in each game as we talk about the picks that are coming up and some of the happenings that are happening in the NHL. So you get the picks and you get the pearls. Picks and pearls. That's what I should call it. Picks and pearls. I got to remember to do that. Let me get you on my phone here so I can see anybody that does happen to come in and actually watch this stream. There we go. Internet. Okay. All right. I gotcha. So, Canadians versus Oilers, we had the over and we had Canadians first period. I didn't take a full game because I thought maybe the Oilers might be able to come back, but I was pretty sure that this is like a tradition, Super Bowl doubleheader for the Canadians, and the fans are like pretty crazy usually. I figured Montreal was going to have a crap load of energy. And with the Oilers, I believe they were coming off of a blowout win, if I remember correctly. Let me look at that. It was a win for sure. Computer's moving super slow for some reason. Okay, yeah. They're coming off a big win off of Ottawa. That's right, and they were on a back-to-back, and it was 4 games in 6. So, hey Mercer, how you doing? Yeah, it was a bad scheduling spot. The Oilers generally don't win in bad scheduling spots, and like I said, it was a big day for Montreal. I took Montreal first period and plus 190, and I got it. And then I also had the over. I had the over like for 5 units. It was a nice play. It was a nice play. I got. I am an Oilers fan, so I know pretty much that in these spots they usually suck. Josh Anderson potted one, which was good because they need him in. And this Raphael Harvey Pinard, my gosh, the guy is scoring a lot, way more than he did in the AHL. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep this up, but he's probably bought himself an NHL contract, that's for sure. And Jordan Harris, he gets his new fancy schmancy contract, and he pots one too. Sorry, I had somebody just message me from BPAL there. I'm going to have to answer it in a bit, but that's okay. And then Christian Dvorak. It was just an easy game. Like the Oilers were, I don't know. This team, it's always been a character problem, and you know when teams have good character when they may not win in these spots, but they tough it out. And the Oilers just in these spots they don't do jack shit ever, ever. That's why I should have took Montreal. I don't know why. The only reason why I didn't take Montreal full game is, well, first, Montreal sucks really bad, and second, that the Oilers were on a heater. So, but for sure, I was pretty positive they weren't going to win in the first period. So got that one. It was a great Sunday actually. We hit pretty much everything. There was only the odd thing It was only the odd thing that we missed. Just trying to think how many units we were up. We were up about 12 units, something like that. So what, I don't know if anybody ever wants to know what units are. Let me know down there on the bottom. I'll tell you. But Kraken versus Flyers. I didn't have anything on this game, but I did lean the Kraken. The Flyers are a tough team to bet against right now. But with Sandstrom and net and Grubauer, I should have been on the over. I liked everything else so much that I just left it alone. For the Kraken, they win the final game of that road trip. Get to go home now and see if they can lick their wounds and get back to being what they were before the break. I personally don't think so. They had an unsustainable shooting percentage, and I think that's just going to come back to bite them now. They shouldn't have been scoring as much as they were. That's what unsustainable shooting percentage means. It means that they had a lot of goals going in on very few shots, and that no team is ever able to sustain that for a long period of time. Oh, sorry, they got one more road trip game still, and then they come home and play Philadelphia again. So they got to go against Winnipeg next. That'll be an interesting game tomorrow. And that's like 4 games. That's a lot of games. I think Winnipeg will probably have that one. And then they go home and play some easier teams. The Detroit game, if you really want to look ahead, Detroit on February 18th will have played the whole gamut of the Western road trip. That's when Seattle will almost certainly have. Yeah, it's just the last game of that Western road trip. It's a bitch to win that game. Hey, hi, Mercer. Oh, it's both of you on Mercer. So, all right. So we kicked ass on that so far. Also, I had the San Jose Sharks. That was it. To me, that was an easy spot. I should have put more on the Sharks there. Washington Capitals coming off that. It was a huge win against Boston, right? Emotional. They had that highlighted to win that game, which I should have thought of and took to Washington that game, and I didn't. On Saturday, I broke evens, just so you know. But I did do. I don't know if you guys know the Ice Guys. I had Saturday. I did like a 11-hour live betting stream, and I'm going to be doing it every Tuesday now. So mark that on your calendar. Every Tuesday evening, I'll be on with the Ice Guys doing live betting streams. So, as long as I don't have anything else to do, and I never have anything else to do, so probably every Tuesday. I had the Sharks. I had the over as well, but it didn't matter. I made so much off the Sharks that the over. Oh, and I had team total over 2.5. I forgot to mention that in Montreal game, I had team total over 2.5. And San Jose, I also had team total over 2.5 at -120. So it was a beautiful game. This Sharks team down the road, I mean, it sounds like they're trading Carlson and Meyer, but I think they're in good stead with the coaching staff that they have there. They get the right, get some pieces in it, get some right young guys and stuff like that. You got to respect how they play. They don't take nights off. They have poor defense. They have poor defense. Actual defensemen are not very good, but they give her every night. If you're coming in not 100% and you're thinking, okay, we got an easy one against the Sharks, you're probably going to lose it because they will outwork you. It's much like Philadelphia in a lot of ways. They're not as systematic as Philadelphia, but they have a lot of guys that can score, and they will pressure you in the offensive zone every turn. It's they're a well-coached team. Once they get goaltending, it's going to take a while, but I think there's a lot to look forward to for San Jose with Greer and Quinn as their coach, no doubt about it. And the Vegas Golden Knights, I had them -1.5. And of course, they actually slaughtered that -1.5. Ducks gave up in that game, and that's the sad thing. You know, they had a little run there where they were feeling good about themselves and they were playing pretty well. When it comes right down to it, I think when you see games like this, as much as I think that Dallas Eakins is actually probably a really good coach, they're probably going to have to get a different coach because this team ain't trying, man. There is, it's a very green team though. Like when I mean like very young team. It's getting later in the season, and I just think that they're pretty gassed. They got a lot to learn on how to for off-season conditioning and all that stuff like that. It takes a long time. And the funny thing is Dallas Eakins is all about conditioning. Like that's like his biggest thing. He's one of the most well-conditioned people in the game as a coach. Him and like Brindamore. He does like marathons and all the time. But they were completely overmatched, and then they literally like just gave up in the third period. They just whatever, we're done. I don't care. So watch few things about the goal. I think the Golden Knights are probably going to be out looking for someone, but I'm having a hard time figuring out who that will be. Like what they're going to add. They've got some cap space now with Stone out. For the most part, they're playing better as of late. I don't think they can have like a big ticket money guy, but you know they're going to do something. And I haven't really heard them in on too many players, but I have to imagine I could see like Buchnevich out of St. Louis, you know, somebody like that. But you know, Vegas is known for making that big splash. They need a left winger. I could see maybe Van Riemsdyk or something like that from Philadelphia to fill out that spot. But I don't know. If you do that, are you really still a contender? I mean, you're in a weak division. Jack Eichel's starting to play a little better now. They got a solid defense. Goaltending is probably not good enough to get them to the finals, so maybe they'd be looking at something to do with goaltending, especially now that Thompson is significantly hurt week to week. Yeah. If I were them, I'd be looking at a guy like Melka in Arizona. I mean, if the pieces are kind of missing a little bit, but you're still a good team, I would say getting as elite a goaltender as you can is probably the best thing you can do. And Melka, I think, is an elite goaltender. So that would be my way to go in here. I don't know who they would trade in return. Thompson back with like first. Do they even have a first? Do they still have a first? Because like, do they even care about? I don't even think they care about draft picks, really, do they? They've shown over and over again that they don't. A first, you know, they don't have much of a prospect pool. Thompson and you know something like that. I don't know, but if they still think that they can win a cup, I think you got to get an elite goaltender with this team because they're not beating most teams offensively. They're solid defensively, but I mean, there's a lot of teams that have a better overall. A lot of teams have a better overall roster, but they have a good enough roster that if you had an elite goaltender, you just might be able to make her through. So that's what I would say. Okay, let's look at the games for tonight. And message me down there if you want to talk about anything. I don't care. Talk about anything you want. Ottawa versus Calgary. And this one's tough because Calgary has not been good on the road. Now, I was listening to some other cappers. I got Calgary at -130 when it first came out. I don't mind that. A -160, yeah, now you're going to have to take it in regulation. And do you really trust Calgary, who just seems to on the road let teams back in all the time to go in regulation with Calgary? I don't think I would. But at -130, I think they could probably win this game. coming off that win in Buffalo. Now, I was listening to some people saying that, Buffalo played a really good first period and, Calgary came back. I didn't see it that way. I mean, Buffalo got outshot 16-3 in the first period. Calgary came out hot in that game, and they came out hard. That was what? That was Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah. And then they take a fairly short trip now over to Ottawa, and Ottawa is going to be playing their third string goaltender, Sogard, who's big and solid. And I would rather them have Forsberg or Talbot in, because how often do you see it that they bring these kids up from the minors, and it's they are totally tuned into that game. You know what I mean? Like, this is huge for them. So they could either be nervous and screw up, or they could just go off, right? Because they're so focused. And the thing is, Sogard hasn't put very good AHL numbers up. So there's that. Like, he hasn't been crushing it in the AHL. I'm going to look at that. I know he's a goaltender of the future for them. Take a look at Sogard, what he's doing here. And then we'll look at the spot. He should be in the lineup right now. Mad Sogard, yeah. He's 22 years old. He's from Denmark. Still fairly young for a goaltender. Yeah, 330 and a .898. Now, in the AHL, it's a little bit deceiving when you see numbers like that, because most of the players that are in the AHL are there because they are not good defensively. So there's a lot more scoring in the AHL. So I wouldn't put too much on that. The year before, he had a 2.86 and a .908 as a 21-year-old. That's good numbers. And in the NHL, he's fared okay. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm making this pick because the goaltender. That's really not. I don't think that's why I'm making this pick if I take Calgary. Oh, wait a second here. Apparently Chychrun just got traded. Let me see. I got to check my Twitter here, guys. I just saw it. Where'd it go? Jacob Chychrun did not take part in the morning skate today and will be a game time decision. Okay, so that doesn't really tell us anything. I thought it was saying that he just got traded, but apparently not. Anyways, back to our regular scheduling programming. Yeah, I don't think that I'm making this pick on Calgary really to do with the fact that they're goaltending. Ottawa's just more than that. Sanderson is out for Ottawa. That would be, to me, a bigger reason to take Calgary here. I mean, Sanderson has almost spent everything for this club, and as a young guy, like, he's amazing. And he is out tonight. I'm going to make sure that that is the case. And they don't really have a great defense of it. Like Shabbat, Zub, and no Sanderson. You got Holden, Hamonic, Brandstrom, Zaitsev. I mean, I can't bet Ottawa with that. Shabbat and Zub are going to play half the game probably. So that's more the reason why I'm taking Calgary. Now let's look at Calgary's scheduling spot. We got to look at last week. That's this week. Okay. Is it? No, it's not this week. Okay, Calgary played the Rangers, lost to Detroit, and then came back and crushed Buffalo. So they've been on the road. This is their fourth game on the road, which is a little worrisome, but they actually haven't been very tight road games. They've had some time off in between here. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the spot, but I can't take Ottawa. However, I don't think I take the Flames on the money line either. I think what you got, like now that it's minus 160. Now it's minus 160. With it being minus 160, I probably don't. I think I would lean to the over here. Ottawa's defense is shot. Hopefully we can get Markstrom in, who hasn't played well. I have a feeling they may go with Vladar, though. With Ottawa not having much for defense, I think Calgary, team total over 3.5 for Calgary might be a good look. And full game over. But I'm not, team total over 3.5 Calgary. I think I was looking at earlier, is like minus 120. I would take that before I would take the money line. So, okay, let's look at the Florida Panthers and the Minnesota Wild. Florida coming off a tough loss against Colorado. Tough meaning that they just got destroyed against Colorado. Colorado hadn't won a game on the road trip and was definitely angry in that game. So now they take that loss. Both of these teams need this win big time. I've been kind of on the sell mode with Minnesota, but they did just come off of a fairly big win off in New Jersey. Where am I going here? Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to do. I was going to look at the standings. We'll look at the wild card standings. Florida should be smacking their lips a little bit. 58 points to get to a wild card spot. The wild card spot, they're going to need, like they're right on the heels of the Islanders in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is probably going to lose that out. I think Florida is probably going to take this spot, I would say right now. So I think they're going to be pretty thirsty in this game. First game of a road trip, too. After a bad loss, I kind of like Florida here. I think if I'm going to pick a side, I'm probably going to go with Florida. Now, the Wild, they're not, I mean, they're a little more comfortable, but they're not totally comfortable by any stretch. No, they're not even a little more comfortable. They got Calgary nipping out their heels and Nashville nipping out their heels. So both of these, this is probably going to be a tight game. I may look at an under, which I would never do with Florida with their defense. But these are two teams that at least are going to want a point. I wouldn't even mind putting a little bit on a draw here. Both of these teams are going to want at least a point, for sure. No doubt about it. And they may play like that to get a point to start it off. I would lean Florida. I would lean the under, and I would put a little bit possibly on the draw. I don't know what the draw is paying right now, but because they don't have it on this site. Head to head, Florida 6-4-0. 8-1 to the over though when they play each other. That's totally going against the trend. That's for sure. Wow. Its total has gone over in 9 of Florida's last 10 games. Florida are 5-1 in their last 6 games against Minnesota. And it has got, yeah, this is trending. This whole series is trended over. But I don't know if I'd want to touch the over in this spot. I would say that most of the reason why this it has trended the over is a lot of these games would have been last year when Florida was kind of set. And they're an over team now, but they were really an over team last year. Minnesota. See, now Minnesota's played under in 5 of their last 6 games. Yeah, they are an under team. Florida played Colorado. These were home games. Destroyed Tampa Bay. I see. It just looks like they got a little complacent against Colorado after winning 3 in a row. Minnesota came off that win from New Jersey, but before that, they lost 3 in a row to Arizona, Dallas, and the Vegas Golden Knights. And really have not been trending in a very good direction all over. I think I'll take Florida. I don't know if I'll put that under, and I don't know. Gustafsson is in net. That makes me lean towards under a bit. Bobrovsky has been playing better. It's just really hard to play an under with Florida. Their defense is not very good. And they play like they've just gone back to an aggressive forechecking system that they probably have to play. Hey Doug, how you doing, man? Welcome in. So but I think if I'm gonna play this game, I'm gonna take Florida. Plus 103. I'm gonna take a shot. I just like their overall game better right now. Minnesota they're weak up the middle. That's the thing is also with Barkov. Barkov was back. Now the thing about Barkov being back, cool and all, they put him in against Colorado. How healthy was he though? That's the question. Let's see if he's back in again. Because quite often what they'll do is they'll go give him a shot in a game like that against Stanley Cup champions, and then he'll be like, oh, I tweaked something. No, he's back. He's healthy. And I mean, when you put Barkov up against like Hartman or Steele, you got to give that a little competition to Florida all day long. And that's really my problem with Minnesota. Until they get a top center, I have a hard time picking them. Really, I really do. I really do. See if I'm missing anything from Minnesota. I'm going through this game a lot because there's a lot of nuances that could happen with this game. I probably should just fade it altogether, but I think a draw would be a good bet here. I think that at the very least, both of these teams are going to be fighting for at least 1 point here. They both need at least one here. Let's see. Sometimes when I get down here, I just look at matchups. See, Hartman is going to get destroyed by Barkov when they play. Joel Eriksson Ek, though, I mean, yeah, I keep on forgetting he's there. Very underrated. But they got Brandon Duhaime playing up there. Who's out for them? See, that's the thing. Sam Steele is a scratch all of a sudden. He was playing top pairing minutes. And now he's a scratch? They're playing Duhaime up there with Eriksson and Boldy. Shaw, Reeves. Yeah, I'm going to throw a little bit on Florida. Arizona versus Nashville. Arizona's just brutal on the road. I think the bad part about here, though, is Nashville's coming off an Eastern road trip. I don't think I play this game. Just don't even bother. Oh, wait. No, they're not coming off an Eastern road trip. That's weird. Oh, they flew. Is that right? They flew all the way to Philadelphia for one game. And then came back home again? Yeah, that is weird. They've had a couple days off, but I mean, Nashville to Philadelphia, how many hours is that flight wise? And Arizona's been on the road for a bit. There's the whole Chikrin rumor mill going on right now, which is, well, they've sort of been on the road. 3 games in 4 nights for Arizona, though. I'm going to check this. Philadelphia to Nashville. Flight time. 2 hours and 25 minutes. I mean, you definitely, you got to be going through at least one time zone there, right? But Nashville needs this win. I just take Nashville. What is it? Minus 213. Nashville in regulation. I just think they need to win too bad. Arizona's terrible on the road. You got all the stuff going on with Chikrin. That's the thing that gets me. And possibly Vamelka too. There's a lot of drama going on there. I'll take Nashville. Nashville in regulation. Detroit versus Vancouver, and this is a tough scheduling spot for Vancouver. Flat out, this is, and it's weird because they just played Detroit in Detroit, lost that game, which I had Detroit on that game, and now they're coming back to Vancouver or back home. Good, I have it set up here already, so let's look at it. What was that? Oh yeah, 4 games in 6 nights. Oh man. Jersey, Rangers, Islanders, Detroit. This is what, the 13th? Come home, have a day off, and then play against Detroit, who's been home for a while. Yeah, you got to take Detroit. I know there's a whole, Detroit's not a good road team and, all that kind of stuff. I could go through all that, but I can't. X team against X team in this spot, I take Detroit. What do you get? Like, yeah, -1, like pretty much even money on Detroit. Yeah, take Detroit for sure. For sure. And I mean, it's a Vancouver game, so take the over. Just take it. Forget about Detroit's expected goals are like one of the worst in the league, but it don't matter. It didn't matter the last game. I think Vancouver has been over 13 the last 15 or something I was reading. So it might go under, I suppose, but if you're looking at percentages and based on their play all year long, Vancouver is terrible defensively. Do we have any goal? They probably won't put goaltending confirmations in yet. Yeah, I gotta take that. Oh, the Predators are putting Lankinen in the Coyotes game. but still, I still think they win that game. Lankinen's good. There's nothing wrong with Lankinen. He's a great backup. It was a great pickup by them. I kind of lean the under because Vamelka can go off, but I mean, the Coyotes are weird. They get over games when you're supposed to not to. I'll just stay off the total. They don't have it. If Spencer Martin is in, just take Wings team total over. If you can, what's a 2.5 on Wings team total? Spencer Martin can't stop pucks. He's terrible. He's not an NHL goaltender. Period. Period. I think it'll be D'Elia though, which isn't really all that much better. You know your goaltending is bad when you know your goaltending is bad when you are thinking that hit the like button anyways. Just one person hit the like would be cool. You know your goaltending is bad is when D'Elia is a better goaltender. I'm here looking at Play Alberta. I love this site. Love, love, love. I wish everybody could have this. Look, you can get some really cool stuff. You can bet on some pretty cool stuff on here. You can bet on periods. You can get, like, look, this wouldn't be a bad look. Detroit Red Wings and over 5.5 pays $2.90. Might as well put a shot on that. Detroit Red Wings over 5.5. Detroit Red Wings and over 6.5, $3.40. Oh, but sorry, that's in decimals, so it's 190. 190. Eh. Still, it's not bad if you're really confident about it. But what's their team total over for Detroit? Probably not that great because they're playing Vancouver. Shots. I don't want shots. Where the fuck are you? Vancouver team total Detroit. Yeah, it's minus 200. I don't know. Do I want to go 3.5 on Detroit? I mean, they got the worst expected goals in the league. But if you think they're going to win and you think it's going to go over, might as well. At plus 115. I mean, if Detroit can score 4 against anyone, it's Vancouver with, especially if Spencer Martin's in. If Spencer Martin's in, I think I do it. Because Detroit's legs are going to be done, I think. I don't like, and that's basically how Vancouver's legs are going to be done. And if Vancouver does win a game, it's because they outlegged the opposition. So the more I think about it, the more I really like Detroit here. I might put a significant amount on Detroit and a little bit on Detroit team total over 3.5 at plus 115. That's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Finally, Buffalo, LA, and I'm on Buffalo here. They are like 11-2 on their last 13 games on the road. They're just coming off a game in Calgary where they got shellacked, where they obviously must have been partying or on the weekend for over the All-Star break. Young team, you know, they haven't really got there yet on what it takes to win on a regular basis and all that stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure Granato is going to be like, you better have your legs for the next game here, man, because they are fighting for a playoff spot. I think Granato would have been pretty pissed with that performance. And there was talk about, I was listening to, what are they called there? Wager Talk. And they were talking about how Buffalo played. I don't know what he was talking about. I like Carmen. I love all of them, actually. I think they're great. But he said that Buffalo played a near perfect first period or something. I don't think he watched the game. They got absolutely slaughtered. And Markstrom was just, and that's my problem in the Calgary game, but I think they're going to play Vladar. But Markstrom was just ass. That was the only reason why they had a chance at all. And then they had nothing after that. And they didn't have anything even in that period. Now you think they're going to have legs for LA? I think so. LA's goaltending, I don't care who's in, is not good. I lean the over 6.5 here. I think Buffalo first period money line and Buffalo full game. Pretty simple. I think Buffalo's going to come out just freaking gunning her here. LA just won a easy game against Pittsburgh, which is pretty much anybody right now playing Pittsburgh. That team, I don't know. Like, you want to see the biggest surprise? I was questioning whether Pittsburgh would make the playoffs this year, but I thought if they lost, it would just simply because, they faded down like, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Like, Pittsburgh is not making the playoffs. There's no freaking way. You want a future? Pittsburgh to miss the playoffs right now because there is something amiss on that team. Like, there's a disconnect. They got nothing. They got nothing. They look absolutely horrible. And you got one of the best coaches in the league and one of the best leaders in the league. And you put out a performance like they did in LA. I know DeSmith is bad, and I'm sure that's kind of part of it, but I just get the impression that they just don't believe in themselves that they're good enough. That's what I get. I get the impression with Pittsburgh that they don't believe within themselves that they're seeing the writing on the wall is what I'm trying to say. And it's affecting them. Like, they're just realizing we're not a contender, man. This is over. This is over. I think they look at each other in that room every day and nobody says it, but in their heart of hearts, they know we're not going to be able to contend here. Maybe they go out and see if they can add to this team or whatever the case may be, or maybe they know that Pittsburgh's not going to add either. So they know they're not good enough now, and if they're not going to add, the writing's on the wall. What's Pittsburgh going to look like here now? If they miss the playoffs here, the only thing I think that could save them, and I mentioned this in my Vejmelka trade video, is if they went out and got Vejmelka. If they could get an elite goaltender, it might give them enough of a boost to say, hey, you know what? Now we might have a chance here. It's just something about, it's something about it. It's, teams with elite goaltenders always feel like they're in it. And they need something to make them feel like they're in it. But it's quite obvious. It was obvious before it started. It wasn't going to work out very well. I think losing Marino too. Sidney Crosby is a very intelligent hockey mind. Not just about on the ice, but what's going on outside of the ice. And my gut feeling when they traded Marino and they bring in Petrie, at first you would have thought, okay, we get a veteran guy. It was tough to lose Marino. But after you watch Petrie play for a while, you realize, what the hell were we doing? You're not going to trade. Why? How could our management trade Marino and bring in Jeff Petrie? And you know how awkward that is? You got to get up in the morning, you got to go into the rink every day knowing that your organization, who is supposedly trying to set them up for another run, convinced of Evgeny Malkin to stay, and you make a stupid move like that. I hate to say it any other way. That was freaking stupid. I got it at minus 130 last night, Doug. I'm not playing that at minus 160. I'm not playing Calgary at minus 160. I don't trust them in regulation. They break down in the third way too often. I mean, they may not here, but I do like them money line at minus 130. Without Sanderson in for Ottawa, main reason. If they play like they did against Buffalo, now that being said, Buffalo didn't play. Like, you can't say, oh, they're going to, like, Buffalo didn't come to play that game. So, I mean, I think any team probably could have took Buffalo that game. So you can't put too much stock on that. However, this was a team where goals weren't going in no matter what the situation was in, and they all of a sudden just potted 7. I just have a feeling they're going to pot them tonight. If that, they're finally going to start feeling good. And I also think that Sutter is that old school tear him down and then bring him back up guy. And I think that's what he was doing here with all these new guys. He was tearing them down. He was giving them shit for everything and really, really being hard on the players for a long time. This is what the old school military guys did. They ripped you down, took away your pride, and then built you up as a team. That what he does is he takes the pride away from the individual, and it's frustrating and it's hard. He did it. It's just like what Tortorella did to Le Cavalier back in the day. I only mention that because coaches do this quite a bit, but I mentioned that one because it was a big one. But Sutter will tear down the individuals. And Huberdeau, man, that guy came in with a shitload of pride. I'll tell you that right now. And I think Sutter was all over it right away. You think you're going to have an ego here in Calgary? Have fucking fun with that, dude. Because when he left Florida, he told them in the media, he's quoted in public, when he found out that he got traded, he said, fuck them or fuck you to the Florida stuff. That takes a lot of pride to tell the team you've been with for the last little while because they traded you to basically to go fuck themselves publicly. Like, there's a lot of attitude there, man. And this was a guy that played, he was flying the zone every game. He had 2 coaches. Nobody could stop him from doing it. Everybody was celebrating him as he was a 100-point guy, and look how great you are. And he never changed. He flew the zone all the time, got into the zone before anybody else, kicked back on the half boards, and waited for people to come into the zone, and he's a beautiful passer, and he would pass off the rush. The problem is, defensively, he was an absolute freaking disaster, and it must have been frustrating for any player that had to basically do all this work, and then Huberdeau gets all the accolades because he's such an elegant passer. You see why they trade him now when you look at it from that perspective? So you go in with Sutter, he's going to tear you down. He's going to tell you, you're shit defensively, dude. He'll sell you right in the dressing room. Well, you think you got a couple points today and you were good today? You were batshit awful defensively today. I don't care about your 2 points. I couldn't give a rat's ass. That's what Sutter will tell you. If you don't learn how to play D here in our system or whatever the case may be, I couldn't give a flying fuck about your 2 assists. Couldn't care. And Huberdeau's got to listen to that. It's a big change from over to Florida where he was lifted up as some superhero. Sutter ain't going to do that. He doesn't do that to anybody. The team is something, you ain't shit unless you're going to work with the team. That's the way he is. And he beats everybody down. He's hard on the players, no doubt about that. But now I think he's going to start lifting guys up. He's going to start lifting guys up, and I think you could see a change in Calgary now. We'll see. But before this, that's why they were gripping their stick so tight, all of that kind of stuff like that. What he's doing is he's really finding out who his character guys are. Who are the guys that are going to be there come playoff time? And who are the guys that still need to learn to have a team attitude moving forward? And, he's figured that out. We'll see what he does now. I don't fully trust Calgary here, of course. How do you? I mean, I've been selling on Calgary all year. Babano, poor Babano. He was so high on Calgary all year. He's lost a shitload. on Calgary. I mean, he's done well for himself, but Ian from the Ice Guys, he's been buying on Calgary all year, and I have occasionally too. They kicked my ass a couple times, but I haven't lost a shitload on them because I didn't believe in them all that much. But there was some spots, and it may be a spot here, but I don't like the spot for Ottawa. I don't like them without Sanderson. I more than likely with Ottawa, there will be penalties here in that game because they are a type of team, that old school type of team, that especially if Calgary gets up a couple, they're going to start swinging, man. They're going to start swinging, no doubt about it. But we'll see. This is going to be an interesting game. I am on Calgary. I wouldn't take them in regulation. I got on them early, so I kind of like it. And Ottawa without Sanderson, that kid, I mean, he's their goaltender of their future, and that kind of scares me too. I would have rather have seen Talbot or somebody like that in here because, you know, you get those kids coming up, and they are freaking focused on this game, dude. Like, there's no going out with the girlfriend the night before or hanging out. You know, they are freaking focused on this game. How many times you see it? These young guys, they come up, and the first game or two they get back, like they do well. And then you also do see it that they are nervous and they get shelled too. He has played a couple games in the league already. It hasn't been that bad. His AHL numbers are not great, but I mean, I don't really put too much stock on that because in the AHL, it's really hard to have good numbers in the AHL. Most of the players that are there are in the AHL. That's Sogard I'm talking about. Yeah, Sogard. Most of the players that are in the NHL, the reason why they're there is they're not good defensively. So there's more goals in the AHL. And goaltenders have a little more difficult time down there. So you can have some numbers like he has, but come up and you have better numbers in the NHL than you do in the AHL. So I mean, as far as I know, that AHL team for Ottawa has got a pretty decent defense, though. So his numbers are a little bit concerning. Why don't we just pull it up? We got time, right? We got time. Let's pull up the AHL. It's Bennington Senators or whatever, right? AHL. I haven't looked at I used to look at I always be looking at the AHL. Let's look at the AHL. I haven't looked at the numbers in the AHL this year much. I've been so busy capping because it's been a tough year capping, man. This has been, like, last year was so easy. Belleville Senators. Okay. Let's see who they got there. That's not what I want to do. I want the stats. I don't want the team. Team stats. Okay, Belleville Senators. So their D, they've got Max Jeanette. I don't know much about him. Lassie Thompson. Dylan Hetherington. He would be solid down there. Christian Rubens is a solid defenseman for the AHL. Jack Doherty, he's been going out. Oh, he's only played 15 games. That guy I thought he was going to make it, but his skating is not good enough. But he's great for the AHL. And Jacob Bernard Docker, it's not a bad defense. Let's see. What about the other goaltenders? Let's look at their other goaltenders, how they've done. Fully. There you go. Oh, they only have Sogard. Okay, just wait. Get the expanded. Let's expand it out here. They only have Sogard? I mean, there has to be a backup there somewhere. But a 330 and a .898 is not very good. 6'9", 6'9". Going by their overall roster, I don't know. I'm leaning that he gets shelled a little bit tonight. I'm going to lean on that. Probably because I already got the pick in anyway, so that has something to do with it, I guess. I already got the pick in, so I better lean that way. I'm doing great, Doug. I'm loving this. I had time today to do this, and I'm really happy I did. I know we're all going to have to shuffle off and listen to the Ice guys here right away, right? I might give it like 15 minutes. I'm going to be listening to him too. This thing is, I find it funny that I've been watching some other cappers and stuff like this, and they pretend that they don't listen to other cappers or something. I don't know why you do that. I mean, if then you're not. I don't want. I'm not putting my money on you. Yeah, live over might not be a bad idea too. That's a good idea. Yeah, live over. Let's look at a couple of live overs here, if there is any. I think Arizona and Nashville, you could look at under 1.5 first period, or Nashville because Nashville should have some pretty good legs. Actually, maybe Nashville minus .5 first period. I just think Arizona, there's a lot of shit going on there right now. There's a lot of drama going on with Chikrin and guys like that. Yes, I listened to the Ice Guys. You know, I was on the Ice Guys on the weekend. It was fantastic. It was amazing talking to those guys. Yeah, a live over is a good idea there. I agree. I just think that scoring is going to carry over for Calgary. They finally the well just kind of opened, and I just think it's going to keep on going. That's my lean on that game. Florida Minnesota is a live game too. I don't know if it's a lot. I kind of lean the draw. Florida Minnesota. That would be my draw game. Arizona Nashville. I like Nashville minus .5 first period, sort of. They're coming back from Philadelphia where they won. They flew 2.5 hours to Philadelphia, played a game, flew 2.5 hours home. Weird spot. Weird spot. They had rest though. And then Arizona on the road, and they've been on the road for how long now? And Arizona's on 3 games in 4 nights. They they just got shelled by St. Louis. I I just get the feeling that they're kind of giving up there in Arizona with all the shit going on with Chikrin. Like he's pretty much going to be gone. They keep on holding out, holding him out, holding him out, holding him out, and uh, I just don't think there's going to be much fight here. The only thing maybe is it's any team doesn't like to lose all 3 games of a road trip, but Gustafsson save prop, that's not a bad idea. I imagine, like, I think maybe I would look at Florida first period after getting shelled in Colorado like that. It's first game of a road trip. You can just hear Paul Maurice. You know, they've got 3 games after this too that they can win. Like they could win the next 4 games if they beat Minnesota. Depends on how they look at it. They could look at it as we'll give it our best shot against Minnesota, but if we lose, we got 3 games we can win. But if they look at it like we got a huge opportunity here, if we can beat Minnesota, if they can beat Minnesota, they can probably win the next 3 games, and they're probably playoff bound, right? So I think they've been highlighting this game for a while. I do like Florida in this spot at plus 100 or whatever it is. I would play Florida before I would play Minnesota. Now Minnesota needs it too. That is kind of the issue, is they just played really well against New Jersey. The thing is when they played against New Jersey, they're really trying to become a trap team. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that their best center, I should say, is one of the best defensive centers in the league, and they got nothing else past that. So it's probably not a bad idea if you're weak up the middle to play a trap. The thing is with Florida is they're going to play an offensive possession game, and they're not afraid to dump and chase at all, like not at all. So if you're going to trap them, they're going to dump and chase the living bejesus out of you, and they're going to beat you to the puck, and they're going to beat you hard. That's what they're going to do. So I don't really think that Florida is the best team to trap. If I'm going to play Florida, I like man-on-man. A good skating man-on-man defense team like New Jersey or Boston should beat the shit out of Florida because their defense is bad. But if you give them the opportunity to dump and chase against you all game, which is what you do in a trap, you plug up the neutral zone and force them to dump it in, I think Florida's got a really good chance there. I like doing this because I talk it through. I've been doing much better at my picks since I started doing these live stuff. I talk through the scenarios more. And that's why, I mean, with Detroit, again, I'm not a fan of taking all these road teams all the time, but you got Calgary on the road, Florida on the road, Nashville at home, I like, Detroit on the road, and Buffalo on the road. Is that many road teams going to win this? I haven't looked at the matchup for Buffalo, but I mean, how do you not take Buffalo here? They're 11-2 on the road in their last 13 games. They're coming off a terrible game against Calgary. They're 5-2 straight up in their last 7 games against LA too. But they're 3-12 straight up in their last 15 games when playing on the road against LA. That's a tough look. That's weird. 5-2 straight up in their last 7 games. So basically, most of the time they've been playing LA at home. But I can't back LA's goaltending, whoever's in. I don't like that 12-3 at home playing against Buffalo, though. I don't like that. I wonder, now, I don't remember too many times that Buffalo played LA the first game of a road trip. I'm going to take a lucky stab here and say that, okay, what's this? Who are they playing after this? I don't remember too many times that Buffalo played LA. I wonder what their record is playing LA on the first game of a road trip. Yeah, they're 11-2 in their last 13, and they've been a dog almost every single one of those games. They beat Dallas, they beat Minnesota, they come out west here and they've been just crushing. Question is, who do they have after this? Because this could be another scenario. I'm going to guess that this is another scenario that if they beat LA, they're like a lot like Florida. Because they probably have like Anaheim and shit after this. Where are you? Week of February 13th. Come on, what's taking so long? This week. My Streamlabs is freaking dragging down my. It's dragging down my computer speed. Are you not going to go or what? What's going on? Okay, why aren't you showing me February 13th? Okay, there we go. Buffalo, what do they got after this? See, Anaheim and San Jose. Buffalo is like a couple points out of a playoff spot. They got LA after just getting shellacked by Colorado at home, being embarrassed. They're going to come out barreling here. LA after this has what? LA's got nothing after this, and then Anaheim on the road. They're going golfing after this, man. Although they're in LA, so they can do that anytime, I guess. LA's in a more comfortable spot, playoff spot. Yeah, they take out LA, then you got Anaheim, and then you got San Jose. And they are basically, running for a playoff position. Pissed off that they had such a shitty game against Colorado. I mean, I'm sure Granado is too. Yeah, I'm taking Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo. All right, I guess that's my full 42. I'm going to go off with you guys and watch the Ice Guys while I clean up my house, have some fun. This was good times, my friends. Support the channel, subscribe, send this out to your, send it out to all the people in the lands there on your social media and all that kind of stuff like that. I haven't even did that. I should be doing this sending it out to people for the love of God. I even forget to do that, so I can't blame anybody else for doing it. But that's it. That's my full 42. Have a great day, everybody. Okay, bye.